Hey everybody, would you guys like to learn how to build this planter box? Well, stay tuned so that way you can see from start to finish how I built this my way, and you guys can follow along and build planter boxes for the spring this year. So here's the first step in prepping the wood before we cut it to size to make the planter, which is to plane the wood through the thickness planer. So here's a quick drawing of a file that I made up on SketchUp, and this is just so that I can get an idea of how long the pieces need to be cut. So this is my large planter that I'm making, which is about 48 inches in total. And so as you can see here, I have on the side here, these yellow squares represent braces that I'm going to put on the inside, which is either made out of cedar or sometimes I use Douglas fir. The red is going to be the side of the planter box, which I usually cut at 13 inches if I want the total width or depth to be 16 inches, right? So I take about 3 inches off, roughly, because you have to account for the two long pieces of wood that are going to go in, which are about half an inch, so that makes up an inch. And then you have the decorative corner pieces that I put on, which is about another inch, half an inch on both sides. And then I like to have a little bit of an overhang on the very top frame of the planter, so that people can use to put their fingers under and pick up. So this is the diagram that I drew out. The long side, which is supposed to be 48, I cut at 46 inches, so then that way you account for the half inch on this side and the half inch on that side, which will make 47. And then, as mentioned, the top frame has a little overhang on this side and on this side as well to make 48. So if you want to pause the video and just take dimensions or a snapshot of this, you could do so. I'll try to upload it in a PDF file or something down in the description below as well. So over here we have a piece of 2x6 Doug fir, and I know some people are against using it, but I'm just using it as a corner brace. Once you seal it, you can seal it also with water sealant or something, and should be okay. But anyway, this is the way I do it. So if you guys like, you guys can follow along. If not, then you don't have to use this. You could use cedar as well. But what I do here is I measure this out 9.5, 9.25 inches. As you can see, I've already got a couple of pieces cut out here already. So here I've got the Douglas fir pieces at the table saw. I've gone ahead and spaced this out about 1.25 inches, and I'm gonna rip the pieces of 2x6 down to its rectangular or square sizes. Okay, so now we're at the miter saw, and I've gone ahead and put the stop block in place. From the saw to the edge of this is roughly 13 inches. We're going to need 4 for both sides, left and right side, and then we're going to need about roughly 8 for the center, for the bottom of the planter. Okay, so here we go. We're going to cut. I'm going to use some scrap pieces I have left over to cut the pieces, but you can use a full length picket if you like also. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done is I designated clean pieces that are plain down and looking nice for my sides, and then I'll probably use some of these for the bottom as well. And then I've also put a couple over here that were not thick enough to go through the thickness planer and then plane off, so they were a little bit too thin. Or sometimes I don't even put in the thickness planer, I'll just use pieces that I didn't go through the planer for the bottom of the planer. And so I'll use pieces that are a little ugly or don't look as nice because they're going to be covered up in soil anyway. This piece right here, you'll run into pieces like this where maybe they're falling apart or it's about broken like that. I'm just going to go ahead and not use this, and then I'll probably just use this as firewood or cut it into strips and make smaller pieces or smaller planters or something. Right. But that's how I'm going to go ahead and cut up all the pieces for the bottom brace or the bottom of the planter. And on to the next step, which is going to be cutting the legs and the decorative pieces. Okay, so I changed my mind. Instead of showing you guys how to cut the leg pieces first, I'll do that last, or the decorative pieces. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the side pieces first. Before we attach these side pieces that I cut down to 13 inches to those square blocks, I'm going to go ahead and run this through a jointer real quick just to get one flat edge, and then I'm going to put it onto the table saw and then cut it down to the exact same dimension for both. This way, by the time we're done with running it through the jointer as well as the table saw, we'll have a clean parallel edges and easier to work with stock. Okay, so here we go. So here on the table here, we've got everything that we need to work on one of the side pieces. I'm only going to show you how to do one, and then you guys can do the other side or however many you need, whether you're building 1, 2, 5, or 10 planters. So obviously we got my impact wrench, drill driver with a drill bit that has the countersink bit attached to it. This bit unfortunately fell and broke, but I still use it. I actually like the shorter length, so that way I can get through without punching through the other side of the wood. I used Type-On 3, obviously the two pieces that we just cut, brad nailer, the two pieces of Doug fir that we cut to squares, and then this is maybe controversial, but sometimes I use these construction screws. Don't know if they're going to be rated or good enough for the planters, but I use those. And then I just recently also picked up, I may switch over to these I got from Lowe's, which is 1 1/4, same size except that it's used for exterior. So I've used these as well. These are a little bit more pricier than this. I forget what the cost was, but definitely more expensive for this small bucket here, which is for 3 pounds of screws, versus this boy, which is, I believe, 10 pounds. Yeah, 10 pounds. So, I don't know. Leave in the comments below what you think. If I could use construction screws as well, or if I should just use only the exterior screws, or if there's no controversy. Okay, let me know. So you'll notice on this side over here, I made the 9.5 or 9 1/4 inch, and then this piece right here, there's going to be a gap down here, and the purpose for that is because we're going to put another piece of strip about 3/4 of an inch over here for bracing for the floor to go in, and then we want a little bit of space so that way the other pieces of wood that we cut for the flooring will slide right in. Okay, so the next step is to cut 4 pieces at 46 inches long, and then I'm going to run that through the miter saw here to cut it at 46 inches. Then I'm going to run it through the jointer and table saw like I did with the sides to get clean edges, parallel edges. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so now I got the two end panels on its side, and this is going to be considered the top of the planner. That's going to be considered the bottom of the planner. I'm going to go ahead and take those 4 pieces of 46-inch pieces and then basically attach it, 2 on this side and then 2 on the bottom. Okay, so all the sides are now attached and screwed, glued and screwed, and this is the box. So this is 46 inches from that corner to this corner, and about 14 inches, because remember this piece that we cut is 13 inches, and then we have about ½ inch here and ½ inch there, so we have 14 inches this way. The other thing that I'm going to do now while we're in this state is I'm going to mark center, which is going to be 23 inches, and then I'm going to have a brace that I'm going to nail, glue, and screw right in the middle for both sides. That way I can connect the 2 posts, as I would say, and then keep the center from bowing out when there's a lot of weight or soil inside. So remember that piece that I cut earlier at 13 inches that broke in half? Well, this is a perfect time to use it. You can rip this down and make a clean edge if you like. I'm just going to use it as is. I've just pre-drilled some countersink holes here. Now I'm going to just brace the entire thing in the center on those 2 braces that I put in. Now if your box is bowed out a little bit and you need to keep it even or put together, what I like to do is I like to grab the brace and then actually put it up against my body and pull it, so that way it's touching the sidewall before I screw it in. So the brace here will serve 2 purposes. One, it'll keep the sides from bowing out. And then also when you're all said and done, I actually like to use it when transporting it before I put soil in, like when I deliver it to clients, as a handle basically to just pick up the planter from the middle instead of picking it up from the sides. Okay, so now I've flipped the planter on its side. Now what we need to do is attach the supports for the flooring or the bottom. I've gone ahead and I cut a piece of cedar to 44.5 inches or so. Let me see if I can take a quick measurement here for you. Okay, here we go. 44.5 inches. Okay. So 44.5 inches, I'm going to go ahead and glue and screw on the bottom over here and keep it flush against the bottom. Okay, it's important to note here that when you're screwing these down, you're not going to use 1 1/4 inches. You're going to end up using 1 inch screws. You can use stainless steel, which I use, and then sometimes stainless steel screws can get expensive, so sometimes I use these as well. These are basically wood screws that you can find at Home Depot. Pack of 100. I think it's like $6, $7 or something like that. And there's the structure basically complete. The only thing we have to do now is take the other pieces that we cut at 13 inches and put them down as flooring on the inside. And then we'll nail it in to the side rails. And then we'll drill some holes for drainage. And then the last piece we need to do, two more actually, is the top frame, which is going to be the 16 by 48 frame. And then we just got to use some more cedar pieces to cover up the corners here and make a decorative corner design that we can glue and nail in. Okay, so here I have the two pieces of the end and the sides cut out with the 45 miters. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this section right here, and then I'm going to nail it in from this side as well as from this side to pin the two pieces together. Now that we've glued all the corners, one other step that I like to take, because this is only joined by the corners here, is that the insides here can still widen or open up. And I'm not sure if this will make a big difference or not, but I like to also staple the two pieces from the underside. Leave in the comments below if you think this is worth it or if it's not worth it. As you can see, I just basically add 4 staples, and hopefully that'll keep it from widening the gap or hold it together. And then plus I'm going to nail it to the actual planter itself from the top. You'll see later. Okay, so now let's put it onto the planter box. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've nailed many locations on the top. I do have to nail on the top corners one more time, but I'm gonna go ahead and save that for last because now I'm gonna brace or put the trim along the legs and the centerpiece. So I've already gone ahead and cut up all the pieces we've got basically 4 edge pieces that are going to go on the side of the box. Then we've got 6 pieces that are going to go on the front and back. And there are 2 different widths. So this one is about 1 3/4 inches. And then this right here is about 1 1/4 inches. Okay, and what's going to happen is once you put the 1 1/4 inches on one end, and then you put the 1 3/4 inches on the other end this way, basically, because we've already planed these down to 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 plus 1/2 inch will make 1 3/4, and then this will be 1 3/4. It'll make for a more uniform look all the way around the planner. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead and nailed these corners as well. So remember, I've nailed it on the sides, I stapled it from underneath, and I've nailed it here and here, hoping that this gap won't widen as the wood takes in moisture or anything. So planter is pretty much complete. The only thing we have to do is take the 13-inch pieces that we cut off earlier and then line the bottom here, and then that's it. I'll give it a good sanding and she's pretty much done. If you want to stain it or if you want to waterproof it, you could do it here as well. So let me go ahead and put the bottom in so we can finish this planter up. So here we have that gap that we were talking about earlier when I put this corner piece and there was a little bit of a gap in between. And the reason I did that was so that way when we get our board down, we could just basically slide it all the way in. And you have a little bit of a gap here, but that's okay. Now that this is in, all I have to do is just nail it in 2 places here and 2 places on this side, and this board is pretty much secure. And we'll go ahead and do that for the entire planter bed here, and it should take about 8 pieces. Okay, 8 pieces exact, and I've gone ahead and I've spaced it out just a little bit just for water drainage. I'm gonna go ahead and drill it with some holes anyway, but I spaced it out just so it looks more uniform and nice. Time to staple, or shall I say nail. Here's a 1/2 inch drill bit, and now I'm gonna drill some holes on each board. Basically, I'm gonna make one here and here, and make 2 holes on each plank all the way down. And there you have it. Planner is pretty much built and done. Last thing we need to do is just sand, just to get some of the glue and other blemishes out. And the planner is done. This is a 16 by 48 inch raised planner box, not a planner bed. If it was a planner bed, the inside we wouldn't have to have boards. It would just go straight to the soil. But these are how I build my planner boxes and how I sell it. So again, here's the finished and final product of the planner bed, 16 by 48 inches. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching the build from start to finish. If you like to follow along with this video and build your own planner beds, please do so. And if you enjoyed the video so far, please leave a like and maybe even a comment down below. And I would really love and appreciate if you guys can subscribe to the channel for more content that I can give for you guys in the future. Thank you for watching, everyone.